make sure everything is cleaned up. While I was having a cup of tea with Daisy, Sam said that and left. What's with that attitude? It's okay. It's not okay. Daisy got angry at me for getting used to Sam's attitude. Then, she offered to help clean. Ugh, my brother really does not know how to clean. Sam's room was such a mess. Daisy and I chatted while cleaning up. During that, Daisy reached for something. Oh, that's... I tried to stop Daisy from opening the drawer without permission. But before I could, I heard Daisy's surprised voice. What's this? Oh. What happened? Oh, no. Seeing the photo in Daisy's hand, I was speechless. A happy family photo and a completed divorce paper. That was a wake-up call. Daisy, will you help me? Of course. With a strong ally by my side, I started preparing to fight. Starting with getting rid of everything. Thinking that in my mind, I rolled up my sleeves. My name is Lisa. I am a 35-year-old housewife. I've been married for 5 years, and we don't have children. Still, I had a gentle and peaceful marriage life with Sam. Our meeting was arranged by an acquaintance, a so-called matchmaker. Both of us had just broken up with our exes and were tired of passionate romances. Sam and I shared similar values, but I didn't feel the excitement I had felt with my ex. However, thinking it was fate, I decided to marry Sam during the suitable age for marriage. Sam decided to marry me for a similar reason, so we never discussed it. Sharing the same values, we had no major troubles living together. We divided household chores and responsibilities. I handled the household chores, and Sam worked. Despite hearing about love marriages around us, I could genuinely say, I am happy about our marriage life. However, our peaceful life was suddenly disrupted. One day, Sam, who usually doesn't drink much, came home drunk. He returned at 3 a.m., and I greeted him at the entrance. Welcome back, you're late. It was supposed to be our usual routine, but Sam was acting strange that day. Shut up. It's my business when I come back. I was confused by the way he was acting. I could smell alcohol in his breath as he yelled and swore. After all, I married you to make you do household chores. Don't interfere with me. You're just a maid. That's... I was shocked to hear Sam's true feelings for the first time. Even though our relationship was a bit bizarre compared to others' relationship and marriage, I loved Sam, and I thought Sam loved me too. I wanted to marry someone younger and brag about it to everyone. That's pathetic. Pathetic? You stole my word out of my mouth. After tossing out those words, Sam quickly went into his study, lay down on his makeshift bed, and started snoring. I stood at the entrance, listening to Sam's snore, and cried. My marriage life until now seemed like an illusion. I thought it would only get harder from here. However, the next morning, Sam was his usual self again. Good morning. What time did I come back last night? I was pushed to drink a lot. Something wrong? No. Good morning. I was puzzled by Sam's behavior as if nothing had happened. Sam, concerned about my confusion, spoke to me even more. What's up? You're acting strange today. No, it's nothing. It can't be nothing. We're married, so we should be comfortable talking about everything. Then, let me say this. Unable to hold back, I told him about last night. Sam's expression gradually faded as I spoke. And the moment I finished, his attitude changed 180 degrees. So, it got out, huh? That's terrible. You must have decided to marry me based on my job, right? I married you because our values aligned. Yeah, enough of that. With those words, Sam cut off my speech and heavily sat down on a chair, then started giving orders with a jerk of his chin. Food. Make it quick. Food? Who do you think provides for you? Work properly, maid. I felt scared of the sudden change in his attitude. From then on, he began to treat me solely as a housekeeper. Hey, food. Sam no longer called me by my name, and although I was initially sad, I gradually became numb to it. Hey, isn't the bath ready? Ah, it's ready. Then say so sooner, you're so slow. I'm sorry. Eventually, I began to use polite language with Sam, and he took it as the natural attitude to have. A few months into living like this, Sam spoke up during a meal. I'm going on a business trip for a month from tomorrow. Get my things ready. A business trip? You got a problem with that? No, I understand. Sam works as a civil servant. I wondered if he really had business trips. Curious, yet I didn't dare to confirm it with Sam, who was grumpily complaining about his meal. At night, while preparing for the trip, Sam went to sleep at his usual time. I wondered how things came to this. All alone, I cried. Don't slack on the housework. Yes. That was all Sam said before leaving, not even a goodbye. The moment I was alone, I felt a sudden release of tension throughout my body. A month alone, huh? I was genuinely happy to get a break from the tense lifestyle for the first time in a while. At the same time, the thought of continuing this life for many more years slightly dampened my spirits. Well, no use worrying about it. I've got to enjoy this month no matter what. I deliberately spoke out loud to lift my spirits. Then, using my savings, I enjoyed meals out with friends, read books leisurely, and cherished my time alone. During that period, I thought a lot about the future and decided to take steps towards divorce. The first step was finding a job. However, Sam wouldn't be pleased with me working. After much consideration, I decided to try a part-time data entry job that I could do from home. Having worked as an office clerk before getting married, I had no problem using a computer. Gradually, I took on more tasks and increased my income. Just as I was getting used to this new lifestyle, Sam returned home after a month. Did you keep up with the housework? Yes. I wonder if that's true. Despite it being a long time since we last saw each other, Sam looked at me with an irritated gaze. Of course, there was no souvenir. I didn't even feel like complaining. Well, you pass, I suppose. Sam went around the house and said that. I felt my emotions fading away again. As long as Sam was around, I was an emotionless robot. I thought to myself again that I must divorce. After that, Sam often went on long business trips. Each time, I had to pack and then unpack his things. It was a relief that the hotels Sam stayed at did his laundry, leaving almost no laundry for me when he returned home. However, the scent from those clothes was something I really disliked. I couldn't count how many times I choked on the sweet, sticky scent of fabric softener. But complaining to Sam would only make him angry, so I always wore a mask when putting away his laundry. One day, my sister-in-law, Daisy, came to visit our house. Daisy, who is the same age as me but more active, has been great with me since the beginning of my marriage. I served Daisy some cake and tea I had made, and she sat down. After taking a bite, Daisy showed a smile. Lisa's cakes are always really delicious. My brother is so lucky. Is that so? What's wrong? Something happened? No, it's nothing. As I forced a smile, Daisy looked at me suspiciously. I offered her more cake while trying to change the subject. How about you, Daisy? Oh, listen to this, he left his socks lying around again. Isn't that cute? It's not cute. Daisy's he refers to her recently married husband. Apparently, a familiar face from the neighborhood, her husband, who is 10 years younger than her, pursued Daisy for 10 years before they got married. Initially, Daisy treated her husband like a child, but after being wooed for 10 years, she was charmed. Despite complaining, they somehow lived together happily. I felt very envious of my sister-in-law and her husband. Hey! Is everything ready? Ah, yes, it's ready. You're really slow. I'm sorry. It seemed Sam hadn't noticed Daisy's visit. Since we hardly talk, I hadn't informed him that she was coming. So, it was no surprise that Daisy was shocked by Sam's behavior. Sam headed straight for the entrance without showing his face in the living room. "Make sure everything is cleaned up." Sam said that and left while I was having a cup of tea with Daisy. "What's with that attitude?" "It's fine." "It's not fine." Daisy got angry for me, getting too used to Sam's attitude, and then she offered to help clean. Ugh, my brother really does not know how to clean. Sam's room was quite a mess. Daisy and I chatted while tidying up. In the midst of it, Daisy reached for something. "Oh, that's..." I tried to stop Daisy from opening the drawer without permission. But before I could, I heard Daisy's surprised voice. "What's this? Oh. What happened?" "Oh, no." I was speechless at the photo in Daisy's hand. A happy family photo and a completed divorce paper. That was my wake-up call. "Daisy, will you help me?" "Of course." Having gained a strong ally, I began preparing to fight. The first step was getting rid of everything. With that thought in mind, I rolled up my sleeves. Daisy and I stuffed Sam's belongings into trash bags. We saved everything that could serve as evidence, including notebooks, photos, and letters. In the photos, Sam always had the gentle smile of our early marriage days. I collected them emotionlessly, while Daisy reacted to each one, expressing disgust and surprise each time. "Hey, let's go to the city office now." "Yes, let's do that." Daisy suggested it as if she came up with a mischievous plan, and I smirked back. Sam said, "Make sure everything is cleaned up." Let's clean up this relationship entirely. I quickly packed my immediate belongings, disposed of all of Sam's belongings, and headed to the city office in Daisy's car. After submitting the divorce papers, I went to stay at Daisy's house. Sister-in-law. Sorry for intruding. Daisy's husband was initially very surprised, but after hearing the situation from Daisy, he became even angrier than she was. To someone who had loved a single person for over a decade, what Sam did was unforgivable. "Sister-in-law, you're welcome to stay here as long as you need." "I appreciate it, thank you." After expressing my gratitude to Daisy, she apologized in return. However, Daisy had done nothing wrong. In fact, she found the evidence and even provided shelter. I was only grateful for Daisy. Sam said he would be on a business trip for a week. It would take that many days for him to realize I had left the house. I'll never forgive him. He's going to regret this. That's the spirit. Both my husband and I will help you. Daisy, thank you so much. Thanks to Daisy, I was filled with energy and motivation. I slept soundly that night, and the next day, I began looking for a lawyer. At the same time, I was searching for a new place to live, and through Daisy's connections, someone offered to rent me a room at a very affordable price. I gratefully decided to make that room my base as I continued my search for a lawyer. The first, second, and then the third lawyer I met with were all miss, leaving me exhausted. But on the fourth attempt, I finally came across a fantastic lawyer. Let's work hard together. Yes. Thank you very much. The lawyer's name was Mike, and he was a very stylish man. At first when I saw Mike, I was anxious that he might be a miss again, but it turned out that appearances can be deceiving. He efficiently handled everything from fact-checking to forecasting, making all my requests feasible. After discussing with Mike, we sent a certified letter to Sam's mistress. And we left Sam's copy on the living room table. Sam called 3 days later. "Hey. What's this all about?" As soon as I picked up the phone, I was greeted by Sam's angry voice. I responded calmly. "It's a certified letter, you know? So, why do I have to pay $50,000 in compensation? As it's written. This is so frustrating." Sam continued to complain irritably and kept lashing out. "Hey, whose money did you use for this?" "Mine." "Huh? It's money I earned, right?" "No, it's mine." While Sam provided the living expenses, my income became sufficient enough to cover my living costs. Therefore, the lawyer's fees were paid entirely with my savings. But no matter how much I explained, Sam refused to believe it. You know what? You're just a useless woman. Just shut up and do the housework, and I'll keep you provided. Just come back home already. To be looked down upon to this extent. Fury rose from the depths of my stomach. I unleashed all of it onto Sam. Maybe you're the one who can't live without me? I have enough income to support myself. You are unnecessary in my life. You. Just shut up and listen. Just as Sam tried to retort, a doorbell rang on the other end of the phone. I smiled at the sound. Look, someone's at your door. Who's here at such a timing? Dad, Mom. I almost laughed at the predictable turn of events but held it back, speaking into the phone. Mother-in-law, your timing is impeccable. Lisa, thank you for letting us know. We'll deal strictly with this foolish son of ours. Thank you. I thanked them and hung up the phone. My in-laws were both former teachers who strictly adhered to discipline. They were strict not only with themselves but also with others. Sam always said he was scared of his parents, but to me, they were kind and good in-laws. They would never condone Sam's infidelity. A few hours later, Daisy received a call from my father-in-law saying he had severely reprimanded Sam and wanted to arrange a meeting for discussion. We'll come with you. Daisy, thank you so much. I contacted my parents to schedule the discussion. They cried after hearing my story, making me feel somewhat guilty. Mom, I'm sorry for all this trouble. What are you saying? Your happiness is what matters most. For now, let's cut this bad tie as soon as possible. Yes, we might need some cleansing to take this bad juju away. Maybe I should do that too. I could hear Dad panicking on the other end of the phone as Mom said that, and I chuckled, playing along with her mischief. My parents had an arranged marriage, but they were so happy that others envied them. My positive view of arranged marriages was influenced by seeing how well my parents got along. It would be unthinkable for them to ever divorce. Mom, try not to tease Dad too much, okay? I'm counting on you for the day of discussion. Right, your father is such a crybaby. Leave the discussion to me. I could already hear the nearly tearful, flustered voice of my dad over the phone. What a heartwarming scene that is. After a bit more small talk with Mom, I hung up the phone. On the day of the discussion, because there were many of us, I chose our home as the venue. On the day, my lawyer, my sister-in-law and her husband, my in-laws, my parents, and I, totaling 8 people, gathered in front of the house. Entering the house, we were all shocked. What is this? It's filthy. Ugh, it looks like my brother's room from back in the day. Even my in-laws were speechless at the mess. Sam was never great at tidying up, but he wasn't this bad. According to Daisy, this was because Sam had been hiding his true nature and was dumping everything on me. Sam was sitting at the living room table, zoning out, and when he noticed us, he started crying and tried to cling to me. My father-in-law stopped him, and Sam began to shout. Lisa, come back to me. Without you, I. Seeing Sam crying pathetically did nothing to me. I realized I no longer loved him and looked down at him with a smile. Why are you laughing? Look, it's all dirty because of you. Where have you been instead of doing the housework? We're already divorced, so I have no intention of doing the housework for this house. Sam's eyes widened at my words. Indeed, I hadn't yet told Sam that I had filed for divorce. I squatted down in front of him to tell him the truth. You told me to make sure everything was cleaned up. So, I did exactly that. Your room and our relationship. So that's why all my stuff was gone. Sam was shocked. I smiled and nodded, and his face turned red with anger. Don't mess with me. Who do you think has been supporting you all this time? That would be you. And I'm grateful for that. You repay kindness with betrayal. Oh, but I thought I was paying my dues with housework. With every retort I made, Sam seemed ready to burst with rage. Then, as he raised his hand to strike me, it was Sam who ended up getting hit. Holding his cheek in pain, Sam was stunned. Glaring at him while catching her breath was none other than my mother-in-law. I knew you were a bit insensitive, but I never imagined it would be to this extent. What you've done is unforgivable. Mom. Tears in her eyes, my mother-in-law stared him down, then turned to kneel before my parents and me. I deeply apologize for my son's outrageous behavior and for the pain he has caused Lisa. Mother-in-law, please, get up. You've done nothing wrong. My mother and I hurried to help her up. She continued to apologize, crying. Seeing his mother like this, Sam seemed to finally realize the gravity of his actions. Just as Sam started to speak, the doorbell rang at the perfect moment. With a smile, I went to greet our guests. Welcome, thank you for coming. Sorry for being late. No, you've arrived at just the right time. Please excuse the mess and come in. I led the guests into the living room. Sam's eyes widened in shock upon seeing them. Sherry. Sam. Sherry, the woman called by her name, awkwardly uttered Sam's name. I apologize for the late introduction. My name is Daniel Tachibana. This is my wife, Sherry. Yes, Sherry here. I'm so sorry for everything. Sherry started crying mid-sentence, just like she appeared in the photos with Sam. I smiled at her, encouraging her to continue. Let's start with how you two met. Well, it all started at a class reunion. You were his ex-girlfriend, right? And then you rekindled your relationship after meeting there. I'm so sorry. I didn't know he was married. I couldn't help but burst out laughing at Sherry's words. Sherry looked utterly frightened by my reaction. I decided to explain the reason behind my laughter. Here's a copy of the account I found. This is your account, right? Why do you have this? You went as far as showing your face, didn't you want to be noticed? I pointed out a specific line. Wish his wife would see this? It showed that everything Sherry had said was a lie. You had an affair knowing he was married. What a liar. But I didn't want to be sued for emotional damage and alimony. Of course, you're going to be. Daniel glared at Sherry with disdain. Meanwhile, Mike decided to move the conversation forward. Let's proceed. Sherry, we've demanded $40,000 in emotional damages from you, and $50,000 in alimony from Sam. You're both okay with that, right? I'll be demanding $30,000 from each of them. Sam and Sherry shook their heads vigorously at Mike's statement. Then, Sam started speaking in a weak voice. How can we possibly pay $150,000 between us, especially when raising a child? Right, in this time with declining birth rates, you should be kinder to parents. Sherry's attempt to support Sam's argument was met with a cold stare from Daniel. Only I and Mike, who were informed of the situation, understood why. How dare you say something so shameless? What are you talking about? Sherry was still trying to hide the truth. Looking straight at her, my mother-in-law delivered the knockout blow. That child in the photo isn't Sam's, is it? How could you know that? I mean, that child is Sam's. Oh, really? That's strange. What's strange? My mother-in-law chuckled, leaving Sherry frustrated, demanding an explanation. Sam can't have children. What? I thought I had informed Sam as well. What do you mean? That's what it means. Sherry slumped down, clearly overwhelmed by the revelation. It seemed Sam had completely forgotten, despite it being about his own body, a rather foolish oversight. I knew before getting married that Sam couldn't have children. The mother-in-law contacted me before I responded to the marriage proposal to disclose this fact. Though I was informed that fertility treatment might not be entirely hopeless, we agreed not to pursue having children. But it seemed Sam forgot all about that in the wake of the affair and the child that resulted from it. Why didn't you tell me? I forgot. How could you forget something so important? Sherry screamed in frustration, but Daniel interrupted with a calm voice. So, Sam's not the father. And neither am I. I was on a long business trip abroad, and by the time I returned, a child had been born. Quite the shock. Everyone shuddered at Daniel's story. The birth of the child evidently did not align with the timing of his return. Further investigation revealed the child's father, but also another shocking fact. The child's father is a male stripper. Not only that, Sherry has a debt of about $50,000, all spent at his store. You investigated? How low? I'd say the same to you. Daniel remained calm against Sherry's hysterical accusations, while Sam looked dumbfounded. Unaware of any other men in Sherry's life, Sam was utterly shocked. As tensions escalated, Daisy finally spoke up. Both my brother and that woman are the worst. What do you think you're doing to my dear sister-in-law? I will never forgive you. Daisy. Sam, having always adored Daisy, was speechless, being called the worst by her. Sherry, on the other hand, faced Daisy with hostility. What does this have to do with you? I'm her sister-in-law, so directly, it doesn't. But seeing someone important to me get hurt fills me with anger. Whatever. You'll probably get cheated on too. Caught off guard by Sherry's remark, Daisy faltered, but then her husband smiled and spoke up. Do you understand my feelings for her over the last 10 years? It took me 10 years to marry my wife. Don't compare my beloved wife to someone who changes her mind and betrays others so lightly. What? His calm and gentle tone carried unmistakable fury. Sherry was shook, unable to retort. Meanwhile, Mike laid out the settlement documents on the table. They were the consent forms for the compensation for the emotional damages and alimony to be paid to me and Daniel. Sam signed them with a lifeless look in his eyes. You're not going to divorce me, right? Are you kidding? Of course, I am. And don't worry, I'll be filing for a denial of paternity too. But that child is yours. What are you talking about? We've done a DNA test. Faced with Daniel's irrefutable smile, Sherry signed the document with a pale face. Well, whether you two stay married or separate isn't my concern. This house will be put up for sale next week. Sam, make sure you're out by then. Wait, Lisa, please Lisa. Ignoring Sam's pleas, I left the home I had grown accustomed to behind and returned to my new place, where I spent the night drinking tasty wine with Daisy and her husband. Later, I heard from Sherry's husband that she and Sam had separated. After we left the house, it seems they had a physical altercation. Sherry divorced her husband and moved back to her parents' house, where she was stripped of her child and sent off to work in a live-in job. In a workplace predominantly filled with women, her affair was exposed to everyone, leading her to be shunned. While I feel a twinge of pity, I also hope she continues working since she has to pay for my emotional suffering every month. Sherry's husband seemed a bit down but, being highly successful, remarried soon after. He married a woman who agreed to move with him, and after wishing them happiness, I haven't been in touch since. Sam was disowned by his family and lost his public servant job for engaging in an affair during work hours, claiming to work from home while spending most days at Sherry's. Having never worked outside of public service since graduating from college, Sam struggled to hold down a job and now works as a part-time road construction laborer. I know this because he frequently calls my former lawyer, Mike, to complain. I agreed to Sherry paying her share of the compensation in installments, but since Sam was disowned by his family, I asked him to pay the alimony in full. Naively incurring debt from dubious sources, he begged Mike to request for the return of the compensation so he could pay off the debts and pay the remainder in installments to me. Mike, of course, refused, leaving Sam to work day and night to repay his debts. My former in-laws began living with Daisy and her husband, a suggestion made by Daisy's husband which they joyfully accepted. They purchased a house near mine and now live in a duplex. I hang out with them weekly and maintain a great relationship, especially with my former mother-in-law, with whom I share a love for tea. The friendly fight between my former mother-in-law and Daisy over who gets more time with me has become a daily routine. Recently, I remarried to Mike, the lawyer who helped me through my ordeal. After several interactions post-case, he asked me out, leading to our relationship and eventual marriage on our 3rd anniversary, a month ago. Additionally, I'm pregnant and looking forward to becoming a mother next year. Coincidentally, Daisy is also pregnant, and we plan to be mom friends. Which one is it? A boy. What about you? A girl. Maybe they'll marry each other in the future? Who knows? After our checkup, Daisy and I headed home, discussing potential futures for our children. Our anxious husbands awaited at home. Seeing their restless figures, Daisy and I shared a look and laughed. Surrounded by worried but loving husbands and a trustworthy friend, I felt immensely happy. Oh, he moved. Let me feel. He's not moving now. Hey, why are you laughing? Just because. I wish for these peaceful days to last forever. With just 3 months until delivery, I eagerly anticipate meeting our child.